Hello there and welcome to this video analysis. If you're here, it means you've just completed the first step, listening to a native speaker and repeating what you heard. That's our before measurement. But why start this way? Because this is the technique that most people rely on when trying to improve their pronunciation. Listen, repeat, and hope it sticks. You've probably tried it before and noticed it doesn't quite give you the results you were hoping for. But why not? It all comes down to how our brain processes language. You were a baby, you could hear and distinguish any sound from any language. You were what linguists call a universal listener. But as we grow, our brain adapts to the sounds of the language or languages we hear every day, aka to the sounds the child needs to survive and communicate. And now, as an adult learner, you listen to English through the filter of the language your brain became an expert in. In our case, Spanish. That's why when a sound doesn't exist in Spanish, your brain replaces it with the closest one it knows. For example, in Spanish we only have 5 vowel sounds, and in English there are at least 12. I'm not even counting diphthongs. So, for example, the A sound doesn't exist in Spanish. So our brain replaces it for the closest one it has. Alright? And we want to say a word like fact, which has this vowel, we end up saying something more like the F word. The same happens with the diphthong O. We don't have it in Spanish, so we replace it for O, our O sound. And we end up saying something very different when we want to ask for a Coke at a restaurant, for instance. That's why just listening and repeating doesn't really work, because we hear English through the filter of Spanish. That's why even if you practice a lot and you do shadowing every day, people still ask you to repeat again and again and again. And when you do shadowing with our proper analysis first and understanding how to produce the sounds, something really interesting happens. And I call it the Joey effect. Watch this video and you'll understand why.
Alright, well, it seems pretty simple. Your first line is, my name is Claude. So just repeat after me. Je m'appelle Claude.
Je découpe plow.
Let's try it again.
Okay.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je déplie blue.
It's not quite what I'm saying.
Really? Sounds exactly the same to me.
It does? Really?
Yeah.
All right, let's just try it again.
Okay.
Really listen.
Got it.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je te floop flee.
Oh, mon Dieu.
Oh, de fouf.
As you could notice from the video, even though Phoebe tried to teach Joey French by just using the technique listen and repeat, he couldn't do it because he was hearing something else. Consequently, repeating something else, entirely different. And this is where my method to teach pronunciation and to train pronunciation is absolutely different. Instead of just repeating mindlessly like Joey, we focus on the physical sound of pronunciation, how sounds are actually produced in the mouth, how they change when they are near others, and how some even disappear. Because when you know exactly what to do with your mouth to produce the sounds of English, there is no way that you cannot improve. In this challenge, we won't go into extreme detail with the sound production as we do in my program, because that would take like 5 to 10 hours. But we'll start by training your ear to listen with awareness, because awareness is one of the biggest assets you can have when it comes to pronunciation. After this video, you'll listen to the native speaker again, focusing on everything you've just learned, and you'll be able to hear the native speaker with new ears, noticing things that you didn't notice before in your first video task. Then in your next recording, you'll experiment with those features. Now, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Just try what feels manageable for now. And by the end of the week, you'll see your first mini glow up. Now, let's get started. Right, we are going to listen to the native speaker once, just to get the general idea. Okay, then we'll go through each sentence and talk about what's interesting in each one. All right, let's start.
Someone said that you're too much. It's funny, it's not what I heard. I heard them say that they wanted less, and you should never be expected to be less now, should you? So here's what's going to happen. They're going to go find less, and you're going to keep being the most.
Now, let's listen to it again, but in slow-mo for more details.
Someone said that you're too much.
Alright, so let's see what's interesting about this sentence. I don't want you to freak out when you see all of these symbols. Don't worry about it, you don't need to learn them all. They just help me with the analysis. But I'm going to explain what they mean. So in the first word, she said someone, okay, with a sound. To produce this sound, the only thing you're going to do is relax the jaw a lot, okay, and let it drop. The tongue is in the center, alright, at the level of the lower teeth, and just say Let your jaw drop and say someone, okay. Then we have this word, said, okay, the past of say. So the word say is produced with a diphthong, but in the past we just say said, okay, with just one sound, said. And something very interesting about this word in this context is that it ends with a d sound, okay, the alveolar d sound. What do I mean by this? So usually, to produce this sound, the d sound, we tap against the alveolar ridge. The alveolar ridge is that area behind your top front teeth. So you have your top front teeth, and behind you have a kind of like a little bump just behind your teeth. So it's d. You do not touch your teeth, okay? You don't say the, but d. So with the tip of the tongue, you tap against the alveolar ridge. Alright? And then the next sound that we have here is a dental sound. Dental means that we have to touch our teeth with our tongue. Okay, so you will stick your tongue a little bit and produce a D. What happens here, which is very interesting, is a process called assimilation. So, since we have an alveolar sound and then a dental sound following, what happens is that this d sound that we produce touching behind our teeth will transform into a dental sound to ease articulation. This is something that native speakers do in order to speak faster, alright? So, this is what you're going to do. You're going to say said, but do not pronounce that final D, okay? Just say said and put the tongue after the air sound, put the tongue out. Said, okay? And then produce the next word. Said that.
Someone said that
you're, okay? Instead of doing the whole journey from the alveolar ridge to the front teeth, said that, too much work. So this trick is going to make your life easier. You can try it out if you want, or you can do the other version, said that, okay? Or you can make things easier and just assimilate the sound. I don't know if you noticed that she didn't say that. with a T at the end, that true crisp T, okay? She said that, with a glottal stop. What is that? A glottal stop is when you briefly close your vocal cords to stop the airflow. Let's do it together. Say this. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. So that sound in the middle of uh-oh, okay, that is a glottal stop. You stop the airflow, alright? So it is a sound. A very common mistake my students make is to believe that the glottal stop is just the absence of sound, okay? So they just say the yo, instead of that yo, and then I give them that small correction and they start doing it perfectly. So that yo, uh-oh, it's like you're running out of air. Oh, okay, that yo. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, alright? This is a feature of modern British English. Glottal stops at the end of words, alright? Like in the case of that, they say that. Now, glottal stops in the middle of two vowels, like in the word water. If you say water, or in the case of butter, you would say butter. That sounds Cockney, okay? That's another accent. You can do it if you want to, but not many people will understand you, honestly. So it's better if you produce that true T in the middle of two vowels. For instance, in the word water or butter. Of course, if you want to produce a glottal stop there, you can. It's up to you, honestly. And in this case, too, okay, if you can't do that your, because it's too hard, you can just say that your, alright? But this speaker said it with a glottal stop. And then something interesting in the word to. So there is this feature called aspiration that happens in English, which differs from Spanish, because in the sounds p, t, k, in English, you can hear that extra puff of air. They don't say tu like we do, okay? They say to, okay? With that little extra puff of air. You can try it out because it's going to make you sound really, really clear, okay? So, to, instead of to. And then the word much, with the same vowel that we talked about here. Now let's listen to it again to catch the intonation.
Someone said that you're too much.
Okay, so the word that she stresses the most out of all of these words in the sentence is much. And here is where the pitch starts to change, okay? So, as you can see, she produced the sentence with a falling tone, okay? Even if it's a high fall. Someone said that you're too much. Okay? She falls on much. She doesn't say too much or much. She says much, okay? With a falling tone. Someone said that you're too much.